Hello and welcome to the TTI Distribution Download, the podcast where we talk about all things happening in the world of electronic components with the specialists of TTI.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, everybody, and thanks for plugging into the TTI Distribution Download. I'm Steve Brahosky, and I'm a Connector Business Development Manager at TTI, and I've been in the electronics industry for over 30 years, 4 of which have been here at TTI. In this episode, we're welcoming my colleague, Gia Hayes, who's Vice President of Mil-Aero, and Peter Cook, who's a Product Manager from Amphenol Aerospace. Today's topic will be a discussion around a new, innovative connector called Series 5. So before we begin, Gia and Peter, I'm going to ask you first to introduce yourselves to the audience. So Gia, let's start with you if you don't mind, please.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. I am Gia Hayes. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, and I've been working with Amphenol Aerospace for more than half of that. So Peter, we're really looking forward to the discussion. Would you like to tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here, and thank you for having me. I am the product manager for all micro miniature connectors here at Amphenol Aerospace. That includes Series 5, which we'll be talking about today, as well as 2M and other ancillary micro miniature connectors.
That's fantastic. I am willing to bet that most of our listeners are very familiar with mil circular connectors. But I would like to start with maybe some of the history of mil circular connector evolution at Amphenol. So Peter, tell us a little bit about how the 38999 connector evolved.
Yeah, great. So I think everybody is really familiar with D38999 connectors, but it really started with 5015, which now we would consider more of a higher power connector. But through the 1950s, the 5015 connectors were the most popular. As size became more important, as higher density patterns became more desired and higher demand, as they needed to pass more signals, newer series of products were introduced, such as 26482 and 83723. And then that's when 389 really gained its prevalence and popularity. As it began to be introduced and designed into newer applications and newer programs, that's where the connector series began to evolve. It now has multiple different configurations, shell styles, coupling methods, and many different derivatives that are offered under the 38999 series, and it's still as popular as ever. It's the most prevalent product series across the military market.
So that's great. Thanks for that background and history, Peter. So how does your new Amphenol Series 5 connector fit into the market that's serviced by the D38999 connector?
Well, as I had just mentioned, 389 was introduced into the market because there was a higher demand for higher density, more signals. And Series 5, our series that we've introduced, is just the next evolutionary step in that lineage. So it will meet all the Series 3 389 requirements, but it's going to be lighter, it's going to be small, more compact, in order to make sure that we're adapting to the aerospace industry's ever-changing demands.
I know a question that I get asked pretty often is Series 5 a mil-spec product?
It's not currently a Series 5. Series 5 is not currently a mil-spec product. However, it does use pre-existing mil-qualified components. As an example, it uses 39029 contact part numbers. It also utilizes Series 2 389 inserts. And on top of that, it's also compatible with 85049 backshells. So while it's not currently a mil-spec, we were able to utilize existing qualified mil-spec components in order to develop the design of this new series.
So do you ever envision Series 5 becoming a mil-spec product?
Possibly. We're certainly open to it. We've consistently proven ourselves to be a supporter of open standards. We hold many qualifications, and if there is enough demand for an open standard for Series 5, Amphenol is certainly supportive of that.
I know there's a lot of discussion, especially with the customer base that I support. Can you give us maybe the top 3 benefits of using Series 5?
Yeah. So I guess it really boils down to it's smaller, it's lighter, and we qualify it to a higher voltage rating than 38.9 connectors. So you're going to save up to 20% of your space. You're going to save up to 50% of the weight, and we qualify it to 3 times the qualification voltage as a standard 38.9 connector. And so typically when you start to reduce your space in the connector world, you tend to sacrifice on performance, but with Series 5, you don't have to sacrifice, and you can meet all those standard requirements while still reducing your weight and space.
Size, weight, and power, or SWAP, is becoming increasingly important in this subvertical. What are maybe some of the applications that you're seeing used for Series 5?
Really, of course, generically anywhere, right? This is an appropriate connector for anywhere across multiple platforms, multiple applications. But I would say really it's anywhere in flight. It's currently estimated that for every pound an airline saves, it equates to 14,000 gallons of fuel saved every single year. So obviously, if you're in flight, you are going to, realize that savings much more profoundly. So applications or programs that are under these, certain markets such as eVTOL, UAVs, we've had a lot of success in the commercial space market, also missiles, really anywhere where you need to perform at a high level and need to save some space and weight. Series 5 is a great connector.
So Amphenol also has a connector titled the 2M connector, and it's billed as one of the smallest connectors that you produce in your particular group. Can you compare and contrast the differences between the Series 5 connector and the 2M connector for us?
Yeah, so prior to us releasing Series 5, 2M was Amphenol Aerospace's micro miniature connector, and there still is a lot of appropriate applications for that series of product, and it is a little bit smaller in some cases. Also 2M is, but you are going to sacrifice on temperature. For instance, on 2M, it's only rated to 175 versus 200 C. And you're going to have superior vibration or mechanical performance as well as electrical performance when you move to Series 5. So essentially, they're both micro miniature, 2M801 being the smallest of all the micro miniatures, and Series 5 and 2M805 being slightly larger but still micro miniature, whereas Series 5 is going to be superior when it comes to your mechanical and your electrical performance.
Since we're talking about performance, does Series 5 perform to 38.9, and are there any test reports that are available? Could our customers also get drawings or CAD models?
Yeah, great questions. So we do promise that Series 5 will perform to all the same requirements that are promised for D38.999 connectors. We have all the test reports available on our website for any of our customers to evaluate, view, use as needed. In addition to that, we have all standard catalog offerings under the Series 5 portfolio available on our website. So if you need a drawing, if you need a model, you can go to our website, you select drawings and models and type in the Series 5 number, and it's automatically available to you if needed. So very convenient and available for anybody that needs to learn anything more about Series 5.
I might also add that TTI is stocking the Series 5 connector in various configurations. So I encourage the audience to check out our website or contact their local TTI salesperson for more information on this next generation military circular connector system. So with that, I'm going to thank Gia and Peter for joining me today and discussing this innovative Series 5 connector with the audience. We've been planning this podcast for some time now. Very excited about the potential for the market that is being serviced by this connector across a wide spectrum of applications. Many of the customers that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are always looking for the next-gen product, and this certainly fits the bill. We look forward to future episodes with Amphenol, including our next series on VITA, connectors, and switches. And thank the listeners for plugging in with us today. And please tune in again for our next TTI Distribution Download.
That's it for this episode of the TTI Distribution Download. For more information on any of the topics you heard about today, reach out to your nearby TTI branch at 1-800-CALL-TTI or visit us online at tti.com.